All right, let's see how long my voice can last with this chapter because it is a doozy. So we're going over chapter 2, which is Sleep of the Feeling is a Secret by Neville Goddard. So, a couple disclaimers before, in case somebody's didn't catch the last one, or catch the disclaimers of the last video. I'm a beginner, I don't really have a filter, so be ready for that. And I do address possible contradictions, unknown terms, and where things might be unclear. In regards to the text, I try to keep discussion limited to the text. It's kind of hard to do that because this is such a small text, and I can help a lot. I feel like I can help understand things, or help people understand things. I certainly help myself understand things better by referencing his other lectures and other books. And remember to be nice. Okay, so yeah, chapter 2, I told you it was a doozy. There's a lot of metaphors, a lot of extrapolation from Bible verses that aren't too clear. And you'll see, you guys. He does put a lot of importance on sleep. That may change as we go through later books. I think I'm going to go through The Power of Awareness next. I think that's the Feeling is a Secret, but kind of more in depth. And I saw Brian Scott's video, and the reason why I wanted to do The Power of Awareness next is because of what he said about it. Okay, so let's get to the actual text. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to this video, if you can, try and follow along with the text as you listen. So I think that you'll get a lot more out of it, and you may catch something that I missed. I would love to know more about whatever it is, especially since this is a video and other people are learning or not from me. Okay, so he starts it off with sleep being very important. The life occupying, is the natural door into the subconscious. Okay, that's he doesn't explain what this means, but that's the first sentence of this chapter here, and it kind of places the importance of sleep in context with the rest of the chapter. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so and then the rest of the paragraph here, he talks about how important sleep is and how we gotta respect it. Okay, and then he talks about Job 33, which is important because of, there's traffic outside, sorry guys. All right, next we talk about Job 33, and let's open up the NIV version. To give you a context on Job 33, Job's friend is counseling Job because he got put through a metaphorical meat grinder as a test of faith instigated by Satan. And the passage that Neville references here is, in a dream, okay, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. What this translation says is a little different, but the main idea, the idea is the same. Job's friend said that Job was pure, and Job's friend was like, no way, no you're not. God is greater than any mortal. Why do you complain to God even though he responds to no one, or he does not answer for any of his actions? So God is like above reproach. There's nothing that can influence God's actions. And then he does speak. God does speak in dreams and visions. He may speak in their ears and then instruct them on stuff like that. So this passage, unless I am incorrect, is the basis of his entire view of what sleep is and what dreams are. But he does also reference the Song of Solomon passage, which we'll get into later on. Okay, so next we have if someone out there knows can interpret the original Hebrew and can comment or tell me, then I will love to get that message out to everybody. And I want to know for myself what that whole passage means or what the whole book means. That'd be cool too. Okay, Okay, sleep and prayer. Yeah, this sentence right here. He says, in sleep and in prayer, man enters the subconscious to make impressions, 1, and 2, receive instructions. In those states, the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined. This sentence is a little strange to me because Neville said in the beginning of the book that they are essentially the same, but as far as making reality, they can be understood to be separate things. So, yeah, I don't know about this one. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll get to that. Okay, they become one flesh, all right, and then he talks about the subconscious here. Unlike the woman of the world who marries her husband to change him. This, maybe he had some stuff going on. I don't know, I just thought it'd be funny to point that out. Anyway, the conditions and events of your life are your children because the subconscious faithfully reproduces its likeness in the outer world of form. So this is a good image, I think, to keep in mind that the conditions and events of your life are your children. They're your responsibility. And they were formed from the molds of your subconscious impressions during sleep or while you slept. And the second thing I want to say about this sentence is that they may reveal you to yourself. I want to actually take out the everyone is you pushed out part of this. I don't think that's important to know, as Neville really stresses the importance of the conditions and events of your life being your responsibility. And since you're responsible for them, your subconscious objectified your impressions from your consciousness, from your conscious. So they are yours. They reveal you to yourself. So whenever you go through your day, this is just my tip on living a better life. Look at the events in your life through that lens. That I made this. What does it say about me, about my current concept of self? I'll talk about concept of self in a little bit. It's good stuff. All right, next is as in heaven, so on earth, as in the subconscious, so on earth. So he references some verses that say basically the same thing. And in my opinion, he is equating the subconscious with heaven. Okay, and the next sentence is whatever you have in consciousness as you go to sleep is a measure of expression in the waking 2/3 of your life. So yeah, it's important. And then he says a claim here that nothing stops you from realizing your objective, save your failure to feel that you are already that which you wish to be, or you already have what you want. And I'm paraphrasing here on that last part. So that's something we already went to. Okay, this sentence here, the unconsciousness of sleep is a normal state of the subconscious, is an interesting one. I just want everybody to remember that, keep in the back of your head that Neville Goddard wrote in The Feeling is the Secret, the unconsciousness of sleep is the normal state of the subconscious. And he just kind of leaves that out there. He just kind of throws that huge sentence and then doesn't go back to it. So somebody can extrapolate that for me. Please use sources. Thank you. Oh, by the way, if you have a comment with anything, any kind of claim you have, it will be ignored unless you use sources and explain like why you thought what you thought. If you disagree with me or if you want to add something, please and thank you. Okay, this next sentence, because all things come from within yourself. So he's already said that the subconscious makes everything through impressions from the conscious. So he's saying for the first time, I think, in the book, that the subconscious is within you. So heaven is within you, okay? And sleep and stuff is the subconscious. There's a lot, oh man, so many metaphors or extrapolations from what this chapter says. Okay, but the second thing I want to point out is that your conception of yourself, where's my pen? Your conception of yourself, right there, determines that which comes. Okay, so in the last video, I talked about the importance of identity and that it influences actions and or emotions and actions, and then your outer world. He says that right here. Your conception of yourself determines that which comes. And so because of that, you should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep, because it's going to influence the rest of your day, which we'll go into later. Okay, the next, I think he just restates stuff that okay, yeah. You have to be conscious of what you are. Okay. The next important thing he says is the feeling which comes. So the feeling here of the wish fulfilled is whatever comes in response to how would I feel were my wish realized. So if when in doubt, or if in doubt, just think that question to yourself. How would I feel were my wish realized? That is the consciousness of your wish being fulfilled, and consciousness of well, I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but you'll see what I mean by consciousness of being or having. But yeah, this is important. This question is important. How would I feel were my wish realized? He goes into it right here. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or have before you fall asleep. So right here in this sentence here, how would I feel were my wish realized? That is the feeling that should monopolize or immobilize your attention. So he's, in my opinion, saying that you must be in the consciousness of being or having. So being in the consciousness of being or having is whatever comes in response to this question. Okay? Just the terminology can get a little confusing if you don't right away know what he means when he says, consciousness and heaven and subconscious, stuff like that. So make that link in your head. Being in the subconscious, being in the consciousness of, or being in the consciousness of, or being aware of being or having is the response to this question here. And then this next paragraph here. Once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. I wonder if you knew about lucid dreaming. And so the entire slumber is dominated by the last waking concept of self, which is the next sentence here. So it's very important. He puts a lot of importance on the last waking concept of self. Okay, because that determines your whole sleep and and other stuff, which I'll talk about later. Okay, so yeah, he thinks is important. So you should always assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before you go to sleep. Then he references some Psalms here. Okay, yeah. Come before me with thanksgiving. So enter the gates with thanksgiving, and so just be thankful, be grateful. Great, I totally agree with that. Gratefulness is very important. Lie flat on your back with your head on level with your body. So he doesn't really go into why this works or why you should do this. He just says, lie flat on your back, lie completely level, and then impress on your subconscious with your feeling. Next is more Psalm references, talking about God neither slumbering nor sleeping, but he gives his beloved sleep. And then he says the subconscious never sleeps. But if you guys will remember what he said here about the subconscious, or the normal state of the subconscious is the unconsciousness of sleep. So even though subconscious is sleeping or unconscious, it is never sleeping, because it's God, and God doesn't slumber nor sleep, according to that one first passage of Psalms. So that is something that is a bit of a mystery to me now. Okay, next is subconscious never sleep. Okay. Conceals a creative act. But this is again stressing the importance of sleep, because through sleep the subconscious makes the world, and sleep apparently conceals it. Man, I really would love to know what he thought about lucid dreaming. That might have changed his perception of sleep. Anyway. Okay, now we get to the Song of Solomon passage, the one where you talk about the lovers and bring into the chamber of her that conceived me. So for anybody not watching along, the passage is, by night on my bed I sought him whom my soul loveth. I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him, and I had not let him go until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. He draws a couple of metaphors from that. According to him, he says that, let's pull it from his words here. Your realized wish is him who you seek. So here, you are essentially the woman. So let me see if I can draw a little table. Okay, so woman is you. And then him is the wish. Okay, that is what he has said so far. By night on your bed you seek the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, taken to the chamber of her that conceived you. And then he's saying, I think, if I'm understanding this correctly, he's saying he's taking this into the chamber of her that conceived you, which is the Song of Solomon passage. And then he says, into sleep or subconscious. So we got another metaphor here. So let's see, chamber is sleep or subconscious or heaven. Okay, because he already says sleep and subconscious was heaven. Okay, next we have commands that he says, never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. I think we don't need to go into that a little bit here. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure, because we know how important it is, or I guess we know how important Neville thinks the state right before you go to sleep is. And I have to agree, actually. I have no clue how important, I don't know that anybody knows exactly how powerful the subconscious is. And if you are going into theta and you talk with your subconscious in that brainwave state, then yeah, it's super important that you watch what you think. Okay, what are we at here? Commands. Oh yeah, never go to sleep. Okay, always guard what you think before you go to sleep. Okay, next passage is a new Song of Solomon passages. Thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee, and that's the attitude of mind. So, to give you some context on the Song of Solomon, it's about a lover, well, two lovers, and they're just talking about how much they love each other and stuff. And Neville Goddard says that the metaphor is that the woman is the wish. Let's see, let's go back. The woman is you are the woman, that you are the him is the wish, and then the chamber is the mother's house is the sleep, the subconscious, heaven, etc. Now in this one, he's saying that, so the context in the Bible is that the man is talking to the woman and saying that there's no spot in thee. So this is where, in my opinion, the metaphor breaks down, I think. He says to have the attitude of mind that the woman, the lover, is all fair and there's no spot in the lover. So that means that, he says right here, to disregard appearances. So disregarding appearances is saying that there's no spot in the lover, in the woman. I don't quite understand this one. But that's what he says. He says that don't think of your lover as having any spots, and that equals disregarding appearances, because God calls things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen becomes seen. And that's just like a little tidbit here from Romans. Okay, so he says that to disregard appearances and feel that things are as you wish them to be, because according to this chapter in Romans, and it's the context is a little off. There's just a little tiny phrase that says, God who gives life to the dead and calls into being that which we're not, or that we're not. The context isn't really that important here. It's just a characteristic of God that he's powerful. Okay, next is to assume the feeling of satisfaction is to call conditions into being that will mirror satisfaction. Yep, signs follow, they do not precede. I'll go into that quote later on. Oh, no, he does right after? Great. All right, so this is a quote from his own works. Neville quotes himself here. And signs follow, they do not precede. I think it's still very important, though. He says here that you're eternal dreamer dreaming non-eternal dreams. I wish he would have gone into more detail about this sentence, because he's introducing new concepts of being an eternal dreamer, dreaming non-eternal dreams. What makes them non-eternal? What makes you eternal? I mean, you can draw your own conclusions from that sentence, but I would have loved to know what he specifically meant and why he chose those words. Anyway, he goes on to not limiting yourself to the past, knowing that nothing is impossible to consciousness as a whole. So it's consciousness and subconsciousness, I'm assuming, because it makes the world. Nothing is impossible because everything is made through consciousness, according to Neville. Do not limit yourself to the past. Do not limit yourself to the past, knowing that nothing is impossible to consciousness. He might be talking about revision. I don't think he brings up revision until later. So this is 1944. I might be wrong. Okay. Then he talks about always, I think he just restates. Yeah, he just restates stuff that he said before. And he ends the paragraph with always imagine and expect the best, which I think is great. And there's a book that that really helped me called Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. It's basically, if you are unhappy in any part of your life, or if you think your life could be better, I would seriously consider reading that book. Okay, next we have nations as well as people. So we have everyone is you pushed out, in where he actually explicitly, I mean, he doesn't say everyone is you pushed out, but he explicitly tells the idea of everyone, your surroundings, being only what you believe them to be, and that you have only yourself to change. Now, he says this, which is interesting. You never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. Instead, you convince yourself that he is already what you desire him to be. Okay, let's talk about this first part, this first phrase here. You never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. Why is he warning against not suggesting to other people that he, maybe you don't tell the homeless person that you want to see him get a job? Are we in the same universe? Is how powerful, to what degree of power does each person's subconsciousness have on the exterior world? Are we in a multiverse where each of us is the god of our own world, and we only influence what we see? Or do other people have a sway on what we desire? Okay, because in my opinion, he wouldn't even need to warn against not suggesting to another person if they didn't have any power to affect your desire. If they did, though, then it would make sense to say that never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. It's a big old question mark in my mind. I would welcome everybody's thoughts on this particular thing that he said. Regardless, I think that it is that people are autonomous and they have power. So I guess to err on the side of caution, maybe don't go crazy with telling everybody your manifestations, because they might influence them in ways that we don't know yet. I have a personal subjective experience, but I would invite everybody to draw their own conclusions on the effect that other people's impressions have on your own concept of self, or your own events in your world, not your concept of self. Sorry. All right, next one is talking about free will. Oh, this paragraph is just restating what he said before. Okay, the next sentence is free will is only freedom of choice. And that the expression, so now we're talking about free will and what Neville Goddard believes about free will and what the subconscious does, which is interesting. He says that the actions of man are determined by his subconscious impressions. Maybe other people's too, I don't know. The illusion of free will, okay, is but ignorance of the machinations, the effects of, or what the subconscious is capable of, or I guess does, not capable of. Maybe the subconscious is not an independent mind. Either way, the subconscious objectifies what the consciousness impresses upon it. Okay, next we're talking about the subconscious receives impressions only through the feelings of man. Okay, we're going over the waking world, or the events of the day. Man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious beliefs. Okay, now we go over a little bit into what he believes about the events of the day and the effects of the subconscious and stuff like that in a bit. So right now I just want to say that, or draw attention to casting yourself as a star role. Where is that? There it is. This is a good image to have, just like the children that the subconscious manifests into the world through your conscious expressions. Let's see, star role, yeah. So picture that, that you're the star role. You're the main actor, and your concept of self is, well, I guess let's not talk about concept of self. Star role. That's an important image to have, and that you are also rehearsed and instructed by the subconscious during sleep. That's what Neville says right here. Okay, next is, okay, now we go into the weeds, or the nitty-gritty of free will here. I'm just gonna probably read the whole chapter. And the acceptance of the end automatically wills the means of realization. Like manifesting or feeling your wish fulfilled brings it about. And then you take with you into the chamber of her that conceived you. You take into the subconscious your wish. Okay, and so the man who is not aware of the subconscious influencing or making the events and circumstances of the day, he's basically a puppet on the subconscious's strings, in my opinion. Okay, and then he says that not only the subconscious, but more specifically, your actions and the events of the day are predetermined by your concept, by the whole concept of self. So that one thing, he really drives home that it's important, super important, to guard your concept of self as you fall asleep, because he says here that every action and event of the day, every single one, is predetermined by your concept of self. Okay, and then he goes on to say that your only freedom is your freedom of reaction. You're free to choose how you feel and react to the day's drama, but the drama, the actual stuff, has already been predetermined. Okay, so let me draw a picture of what that means here. So where's my pen? There it is. Okay, so you have here your reactions, okay? That is what you are free to do, okay? This is what you are free to do. but the events have been predetermined, okay? So not free. But you are free to react however you want to. You can choose to feel and react to the day's drama. But okay, so right here, let's see, where's my pen? There it is. Okay, so reaction. So you are free to react however you want. And if we're going to, and this is me extrapolating, this is my opinion, your concept of self, we talked about over here, every single event is determined by your concept of self. I stressed that pretty hard. So you're free to not only react to the day's events, but you're free to determine your concept of self, okay? Concept of self, which will determine the day's events. But they are also not free, or they're also predetermined. Okay? So you have maybe like a basic guideline to give to the subconscious to determine the events of the day. I don't know what to say here. Let's say feeling. So this is a free feeling, free will feeling. Free will feeling plus the subconscious determines the events of the day. And then you're also free to determine how you react to those events, because you don't know the actual events and what's going to happen, but you can react, and then it's this whole circle thing. So if I missed something in this picture, please let me know. But I'm gonna live my life according to this. Whoa, that's a terrible arrow. Until I learn something else, or otherwise experience something subjectively that says this is not true. Yeah, if this picture helps or confused you guys, sorry. All right, next one is every reaction makes a subconscious impression, and unless counteracted by an opposite and more dominant feeling, it's a cause of future action. We already went over this. Okay, and he talks about the seed analogy over here. Oh, did I forget anything? No. Okay, talk about the seed here. This paragraph confused me a lot. And then I listened to The Art of Dying in the lecture. You can just YouTube search that. I think Brian Scott's take on that was really good. It was helpful to me. So the passage says, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone, but if it die, then it bringeth forth much fruit. And he says this really, really important phrase right here, right after. He says, your conception of yourself as you fall asleep is the seed that you drop into the ground, okay? You have to kill it. You have to let it die so that it can, so that you can get a lot of fruit. Because, in my opinion, and this is what I think this means, is that your subconscious belief, your conception of yourself as you fall asleep is the seed that you have to let die. Because, we're going back to the identity thing, your patterns and your behaviors are arising from your concept of self. So if you are unhappy in any part of your life right now, it is because you had an identity that was in line with what you don't like. So you have to kill it. You have to let it die. You have to drop that seed into the ground and let it die. And according to the verse here, this analogy, it'll bring a lot of fruit. Okay, that's super important, guys. Concept of self is the most important. Well, is one of the most important concepts, or I guess guarding it is one of the most important concepts, I think, of Neville's teaching. because everything arises out of what you tell yourself, especially through your subconscious. Okay, so are we done with this? Holy crap. Yeah, we're done. This is the last paragraph is just restating what he says, yeah. Okay, the summary is the main idea of the first one is sleep is the natural door into the subconscious, and that determines the whole chapter here. And then he says also that sleep is the subconscious, and the subconscious is heaven, so heaven is sleep, and yeah, all the metaphors. Okay, I've had that cat. It's a stray cat. It's so annoying. Well, it's cute most of the time, but anyway. Going on to the summary here. Neville Goddard says that your whole waking life is controlled by how much you pay attention to sleep, specifically the state of mind or the concept of self that you have before you drop off into sleep. And yep, the conscious heaven. Okay, cool. We already did that. Yes, consciousness of being or having your wish is feeling. That is what feeling is, and we already went over that in the last chapter. But he defines feeling again as the response to the question, "How would I feel were my wish to be realized?" That is consciousness of being. That is feeling. That's how you get what you want. And man's only freedom is the freedom of reaction, which, as we talked about, leads to the basic outline of the next day. It's unclear how exactly the subconscious works, according to Neville, specifically in relation to your freedom of reaction. But okay, yeah. So there's specific events. That's what he tells us for sure. That events, circumstances, actions are predetermined, and by the subconscious. Okay, so that is it. Yeah, this one was super hard, guys. I really tried my best to explain what was going on. Let me know if this made anything clear or unclear. And of course, if you want to contribute to the conversation, I don't know if I'll like have another platform, like a Discord channel where we can talk about my videos and about, what you guys got from it, or maybe what I have said something wrong. Because if I say something wrong and other people watch this video and they learn from me incorrectly, and that causes them to stumble in some way, then I really don't want that. And then that's a big problem with the subreddit, for example, the Neville Goddard subreddit. People post things that just aren't true, and they post things because maybe they've subjectively felt it and they don't have any other proof of that. I don't want to stay on the soapbox too long, but I just want to stress the importance of disseminating correct information, because other people look at it. If you post something online, other people are going to read it, and they may know the correct answer, or they may not, and they may be influenced by incorrect information, which could have disastrously bad consequences. So it's very important that you put out information there that you only know is correct. You only use sources, and I mean, we're all learning. You can't do everything perfectly all the time, but yeah, just that's something to keep in mind. I won't do like little messages like this. I just think it's important to keep in mind, because this stuff is very important. This like discussing the nature of consciousness and the universe and how we relate to each other and what humans are. It's the most important thing that we can be doing. That's why I'm devoting time to this and putting out these videos, is because I think that this is the best investment of time that you can do. Anyway, see you in the next video where we'll talk about prayer. What the fuck is going on?